Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe, and we're here with a fun one today, Abzan Knights. So before we go through the deck tech, just want to give you guys a reminder, if you can, hit that subscribe button. You'll get instant notifications whenever I go live with a new video, and it really just helps me build up the channel to get to that starting point on YouTube to start getting some value out of the stream. It'll help me move towards a new gaming computer and just give you guys higher quality content going forward. Turning to the deck, wanted to try this deck out for a while. I think it's pretty well positioned right now. So it's probably more of a aggro mid-range style deck, fairly heavy creature based, but it has a lot of versatile cards right now in the format. The shell of like our beginning curve, we have Dauntless Bodyguard to protect our threats. Both Knight of Grace and Knight of Malice have pseudo hexproof against a lot of the pertinent removal in the format, all your white base to exile, as well as Vrax's Content, cast down, whatever it may be in that space. They also power each other up and have first strike, so they trade profitably through most creatures. We have 3 Benalish Marshals. It may go up to 4. I'm just unsure of how well we're going to be hitting 3 white consistently in a 3-color deck. We also have 3 Midnight Reapers to kind of recycle through our creatures. We're playing 4 of Knight of Autumns. I think this is just a very good card right now. It has text against most cards in the form, or most decks. Against more like traditional control, like Esper, we can just make a 4/3 beater on 3. We can blow up artifacts or enchantments versus like Nexus or some of the other decks. Search for Ascantas. There's just a lot of enchantments going around right now. And then against more aggressive decks like Burn, we can just use it to gain 4 life and then use it as a blocker. We're playing 4 of History of Benalia. Those are pretty much our anthems and just great value. We're playing 3 of Mortify. Again, just a flexible spell, destroying creatures and or enchantments. We have Conclave Tribunals. We have a lot of creatures that we can just kind of tap out. And then I'm trying out one of Ariel, Knight of the Windgrace. I don't know how good this will be, but it seems like we can, against like Control or some other decks, we can just commit 1 creature to the board and just keep spamming more creatures, as well as its pseudo removal as well against something like, say, Lyra or Niv Mizzet. And then we're trying out 2 Trusthanis, as although not a knight, it will just serve as another anthem effect, and it brings along 2 creatures as well. We can also, if they play anything to steal our creatures, we can get it back. The mana base is pretty much, we got our 4 black-white duels, a couple basics. The deck's more based white. The other lands, again, we have 4 Temple Gardens for the splash with the Sunpetal and 3 Woodland Cemeteries. It'd probably be a split of Woodland and Overgrown Tombs. I just haven't crafted them yet. Really with the green splash, we just want to make sure we have enough green sources, but predominantly have the white to start off with. So in this case here, we have 9 green sources, but we're really only playing 6, no double green as well. In the sideboard, we have 4 Duress against our control matchups or heavy mid-range. We also have 2 Assassin's Trophies. It's just a catch-all against like Nexus decks or anything that's playing something big that we can't normally deal with. 2 Fine Finalities against sweeper decks. 2 Ixalan Bindings versus Planeswalkers, or like Crassus decks. I really like binding against Crassus because even if they kill the binding, the Crassus just dies. 2 Settles against more mid-range threats. This way we could still play putting on pressure while wiping their board. Shalai just as protection for the creatures if need be against spot removal or burn. And 2 Vraskas against mid-range or control just to kind of gain value and put pressure on them. So we'll take it for a spin in the rank queue. I haven't played with this deck yet, so it may need some changes as we go through, but we'll see how it goes. So test out Knights. Let me know in the comments if you've had any testing or play with either black-white Knights from previous standard or Abzan variety. If you think there's any changes. There's the 5 mana legendary from Ixalan, Vona. That's a knight as well. This hand's nice. So we can Bodyguard on 1, Benalia on 3, Midnight Reaper on 4, and then that'll just keep us drawing cards. Opponent mulligans here, and bottoms. I like this deck as well because all our creatures kind of play up. You have a 2/1 for 1, you have effectively two different 2-mana 3/2s with first strike in the other knights. So we can put on some good pressure against more control builds. Mortify's good here. So we'll just play a tap line here and say go. So we need to see what the opponent will come with next. This might just be a Drake's deck. So here, I'm actually going to lead off on Midnight Reaper. They're more likely to have a Spell Pierce in a Drake's deck than they are to have like an Essence Scatter effect. And in this case here, we still have 5 power that we're pressuring with. And then depending what they come out with next turn, we can put out Benalia. So this might be one of the Nexus decks. Okay, so second Benalia is good as well. Been seeing more Temur Reclamation recently. If it's one of the like pod decks, you usually see some earlier creatures, whether Llanowar Elves or Growth Chamber Guardian. Yeah, so we have Reclamation here, so we'll just Mortify that. Oh, that's actually good, because now we can attack and then play Conclave Tribunal and a second Benalia. So this is what I was hoping for with the deck. We just have a lot of pressure we can play early. So they play Frilled Mystic. That's fine. Them not being able to counter is good for us. There was an option for us to Mortify just to get those other points of damage in. But I think just with another Benalia coming down and then this one coming off, that we're in a promising position. And then setting them back. With Wilderness Reclamation, they effectively get 2 turn cycles each turn, and the opponent calls it quits. So here, I think we bring in the Assassin's Trophies, the Duress, Ixalan's Binding, and Shalai. I usually like cutting the top end for these decks against the Nexus builds. We want to be low and aggressive. 6 more cuts. I think we have enough to get rid of the tribunals. Knight of Autumn's also strong here. Maybe the Benalish Marshal, 2 cuts. We just have a lot of good ways to interact. Okay, let's just do that. Shall I, like, so this being Temur build, they're going to win through Expansion Explosion, so shall I actually prevents this coming to us, so they have to waste at least 1 Expansion Explosion on Shalai. Sounds awesome. So we'll Bodyguard on 1. Or actually, I think we actually Duress on 1. We want to catch if they can get a search for Ascanta. If we were on the play, we would have done it the other way. So here they have the 2, so we'll just take the removal. So they're bringing in Growth Chamber Guardians out of the side. Our curve is quite strong here. So they can adapt next turn. We will not block. It's fine. They'll get another Growth Chamber Guardian. We'll go Benalish Marshal next turn. Mortify is another nice draw. We'll say that for next turn when we can both Bodyguard to protect the Marshal and then Mortify. So they'll play the Reclamation here. Because they have the 2, blowing up the first one doesn't do as much, and I'd rather apply pressure. So we'll lead first on the Bodyguard, protect the Marshal, and then Mortify. A Midnight Reaper would be pretty good here, or like an Ixalan's Binding perhaps. So they bounce here. That's fine. Attack for 2. Pass turn. So they'll play the second Reclamation here. I like to slow play the Reclamation players sometimes, just when they start going for their loops, it's annoying. So they Growth Spiral. We'll see if they combo off now. Just pass priority. Alright, the Marshal here is nice. I still think we just put down the Benalish Marshal to get in the most damage. So it's good to know that they have Cannonade. Just drop that and say go. They're down to 1 card now. So them being able to adapt, play and adapt at the same time. So we might need to bring more removal in or keep the Trustanis. Yeah, you can take it. The second one here is nice. We can trade off here if they attack and then draw cards, if not put on quite a bit of pressure. So they have the insight, so they can start chaining together some mana, which is troublesome. They're out of Growth Chamber Guardians. I still think we need to be aggressive. We can catch one of these Guardians too, it'd be good. Just causes the dead draws. They're at 12. Hold back Benalish. They have a lot more draws that they could chain together, so I think we attack. Let's pass turn. So we have to block here. And we're dead. Okay, so it's good to know that they have the Growth Chamber Guardians. Probably take out Shalai. Bring in 2 Finalities. Bring in Tribunal. We have a lot of ways to blow off their enchantments. Catch a Binding. Vraska might be good as well. We'll try it out like this. Sounds aggressive and I like it. We've yet to gain the synergy of having both Knight of Grace and Knight of Malice on the field at the same time. And it's like the one color combination that we don't get any advantage against. Just hoping for more action. Next turn we can double spell. We do lose to Fire and Cannonade with this hand. But we're not playing this deck to not spam creatures and attack. I think I like this Temur build the most. It seems the most proactive of the Wilderness Reclamation decks. The Bant ones are just so slow. So they Lava Coil here, that's fine. That kind of telegraphs that they don't have the Fiery Cannonade. Because if they did, they're more likely to take the 2 damage. We'll protect our Knight of Grace in the past turn. This is just a lot of pressure on our opponent now. Not quite 2 turns, but a good chunk of damage. So they play Brontodon here. So it looks like they just threw in whatever creatures they had to try to soak up some damage. So let's just Mortify here. Be nice to have the green source. So this is one instance where our mana did come to haunt us a bit. But I think through the first 2 games we hit everything as needed. We hit Benalish or whatever else was coming down. Opponent's digging there. They really need the cannonade here. Also of note, they're off, so they can't Niv next turn. So here I'm going to hold off. We have lethal on board. If they have the cannonade, then it blows us out that way. At least like this, we have the last 2 damage. They don't have enough mana to Growth Chamber Guardian, adapt Growth Chamber Guardian, so that we get rid of the 2 blockers, and in case we have 3 attackers, they could flash and Furled Mystic, and they still lose. Yeah, so here the Growth Chamber Guardian, sure, you can adapt it, but we still have 3 attackers. That's fine, they blink, they block, they die. I haven't seen these Temur decks play any sort of Root Snare style effects, and it looks like he went more mid-range than combo. So that's actually really good. The deck performed fairly well. We kind of fell back on game 2, but they had a nice draw there. So we'll keep playing it through some more matches and go from there. So let me know what you think in the comments below, any changes you think, and if you can, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, it goes a long way to helping me keep making more content more frequent. Thanks and have a good one.